Right here. You're right.
Dat Tank is in the center, right here, folks. With his knockout power, star power, and PPV sales, Davis was destined to become the next great boxing legend. Some even believed he could overtake Floyd Mayweather as the sport's face and become the new king of boxing because of his undefeated record and the excitement around it. But instead of making history, he made one of the worst career decisions ever. Floyd is the one who was most incensed by Dave's decision to stop boxing, not because he lost, nor because he was hurt. Money Mayweather, will you return to boxing? Oh, no, I'm not returning through the sport of boxing. The sport of boxing was good to me. I was able to make a lot of wise investments outside of it, and I just wanted to help you. As I mentioned earlier, the fighters that are up and coming are like Gervonta Tank. Because Mayweather built his entire career on longevity, discipline, and an unbreakable attitude, he remained undefeated for over 20 years, fought until he was 40 years old, and walked away from fighting on his own terms. So, music. I don't understand why he's not in a top 10 PM for Pound, Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence Bennett, and so many other tough fighters that I'm proud of. Floyd is just shocked, disgusted, and furious. Tank, who is only 29 and in his prime, is wasting his entire career in the meantime. If you believe this is just about retiring, think again, it's about legal issues. Floyd Mayweather believes that Gervonta will never fully recover from his self-destruction and damaged reputation, so what precisely transpired? And why is Mayweather I'm furious? But is this really the end of Devon Davis's career? Let's talk about it, Gervonta. After his incredible knockout victory over Ryan Garcia, Davis was ecstatic. He was the face of boxing's new generation of PPV numbers, attracting devoted and expanding fans. The possibilities for future fights were endless, and it only got better when he defeated Frank Martin in the ring. He could have faced Devin Haney, Shocker Stevenson, or even Ryan Garcia again. While most fighters quit in their late 30s when their bodies can no longer support them, Davis is only 29 years old, at the peak of his physical abilities, and he's choosing to walk away from you. This is a huge fight for the DMV area, so does that give you a little more motivation? The hype is real, and people were starting to wonder if Tank could go undefeated his entire career like Mayweather, but instead of pushing forward, he threw in the towel. Given that he is from Washington, D.C., and I am from Baltimore, I don't really see this dispute as being between me and him because I have been visiting Washington, D.C. since I was a little child, so it's more for the audience. Baltimore, but to the general public, it is unquestionably as good as it was before. Tank Roach stated earlier today that he believes the men you've lately eliminated lack a chin. How would you respond to that? We need to try it out, so come on the first we on it. Me, what do you think about that, Lant? You mentioned that you feel like that's what we're going to be in there for. Tank is currently preparing to defend his WBL lightweight world title against Lamont Roach on March 1st, 2025 at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. This fight was originally scheduled for December 2024, but after some delays, it's finally happening. And now that Davis has essentially said, I'm out after this, the fight has gotten much bigger. Music. Floyd Mayweather, however, is not having any of it, and this may be the last time we see him. He fought until he was 40 years old, remaining unbeaten and departing the sport as one of the greatest ever. Mayweather achieved his career by being disciplined, focused, and always staying ahead of the game. Now he's watching the young man he taught waste everything before he ever reaches his full potential. Yes, it really bothers him. Mayweather has been outspoken about fighters making poor career decisions, but this time he's being direct. Sources close to Floyd claim that he is furious and believes Tank is making the worst mistake of his life. You don't stop at 29, especially when you're a well-known boxer and have a point against every great fighter in history, including Ollie Tyson. Pacquiao, even though Mayweather has persevered through difficult times, things grow worse now since his legal issues have been piling up, and Floyd believes that this isn't even about boxing anymore. Rather, it's about avoiding the repercussions of his own music deeds. A 4-year-old turns around, hey, the little one inside of you doesn't have to ask. We need to make sure she's with someone. She's okay. Listen, I understand that you're upset, but we can't just say, what's your first name? Or she's just with somebody. We have a responsibility to make sure she's with the right people. Given his speed and strength, Davis is among the most captivating fighters of this generation. He has knockout power. Some even claim that he is currently among the top 3 fighters in terms of weight, and to be honest, it's difficult to argue against that. We just go away and be, but you, especially me, I initially get a camp house, and you're out here. I start running on the cam on day 1, so it's probably at different times. Depending on what fits, I might not feel like running in the morning and instead run at night. Trey likes to run in the morning, and if I don't, I train at night. If I want to do something else, I either run or train at night, and that's about it. However, when I'm in camp, I really don't go outside because I find it difficult to do so I just stay inside and at home. Well, let's face it, his legal issues are taking precedence over his abilities. And they're not a one-time thing. They've been a pattern that has not only damaged his reputation, but also completely tarnished his legacy. We're talking about arrests, hit-and-run incidents, assault charges, probation violations, you name it. In 2020, he was caught on camera touching his child's mother in front of everyone at a charity basketball game. In 2021, he was involved in a hit-and-run in Baltimore that left several people hurt, including a pregnant woman. Rather than staying at the scene, Tank dipped away, and Gervonta Davis was locked up. BRDV was locked up, and the court cases are a complete mess in 2023. For the hit-and-run, he was placed under home arrest, but guess what? He disregarded the order and was imprisoned for 44 days, unable to even adhere to the most basic conditions of his punishment. Fast forward to 2024, and guess what? More drama, another arrest, and more legal issues. Furthermore, supporters are now weary of hearing things like, how many times can you throw away your own bag? And how many times can you let your own ability go to waste? He occasionally looks at Tanks, so listen to him, dude. They know which side I support if we have to go there, and Floyd Mayweather is fed. I'm good Tank heading back, and I let 2 adult guys do their thing. Up, the same guy who mentored Tank and led him to stardom and set him up for generational wealth, is now watching him wreck his own career, and for what bad choices and reckless behavior. Tank was supposed to be the face of boxing for the next decade, but instead of talking about his insane knockouts, his name is making news for all the wrong reasons. If this really is his last fight, he's walking away with a reputation that's as controversial as it is legendary. Here's the thing, Floyd saw something in Tank from day 1. He wasn't just some regular up-and-coming fighter. He had that it factor, that mix of power, speed, and raw aggression that made him a living highlight reel. Floyd wanted him to be the guy, the next king of boxing, the one to take the torch. Best exposure, he put him on the biggest fight cards, hyped him up as the next hero, and even compared him to himself. That's how much trust Floyd had in him. But then things got ugly, He, the one, told Frank that I was running at 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning Friday. He told Frank that he was giving Frank tips and stuff like that. But I knew for sure that wasn't going to be enough to beat. It's cool, it's alright, I don't really think too much of it. He's not going to hurt me, you know what I mean? So it's good to be with him, then be cool with him, cause he can do some crazy stuff. A picture him bad situations. Tank wanted to do things his way, but Floyd made him feel like he was being controlled. When Tank began to push back, disregard Floyd's advice, and act as though he no longer needed him, the relationship began to fall apart.